Okay, InDesign. Time to open this up for the first time and just kind of walk you through what to expect, what it can look like. Right now it's just kind of installing. I'm on a Mac, so this might look slightly different than it would look on your PC if that's what you're using. Otherwise, hopefully, once this actually gets into the menus, things should look fairly similar. Alright, now as always, my computer is trying to open this up gigantic, so let me go ahead and shrink this a little bit really quick. Just like all the other programs, it's going to kind of give us a preview of what's different in this version. All sorts of stuff in here that may or may not look the same for you. It depends on if you have Creative Cloud 2020 or what version you've got. You might not have this. Regardless, we can just close out of that, and now we're in the launch page. Okay, so we've got some options here. We've got a couple options over here on the left to create a new document. There's also some options down here for creating a new document. As you can see, InDesign is something that we can use for both digital and print stuff. It used to be that a lot of these presets were very much more print oriented, but InDesign's changed a lot in the last 5-6 years or so. All right. So what I'm going to do is I can either go here or here. I'm just going to say create new. As always, we are going to lean toward just doing stuff on a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which is your letter. Now here's something that's already different from InDesign that we're probably going to go and fix. Now, for you Media Art kids, we are generally not going to be using picas. Yearbook kids, we do use picas, but not really as much in InDesign. That's something more that the Walsworth platform itself likes us to do. So instead of creating a new document, I'm just going to go ahead and fix this so that we're working in inches. So I'm going to go into InDesign at the very top here. I'm going to go into Preferences. These menus might be within InDesign itself on your computer. Because I'm on a Mac, they're hanging out up here. So I clicked on InDesign. I'm going to go to Preferences. And I want to go to units and increments. There it is. And I want to change it. Instead of it being on picas, I want it to be on inches. And the vertical was already on inches. And please stay on inches. There we go. Okay, and that's pretty much all I want to change there for right now. We might have something a little bit later. So a little bit different here, opening up InDesign. Of even before I create a document, I wanted to change that because it's a little bit of a pain if you want to have to change that all the time later. All right, back to what I was doing. I'm going to do create new. Notice it now says 8.5 by 11. I'm on my regular sheet of paper. There are lots of other sizes in here, but we're just going to stick with letter. I can have it vertical or horizontal. I'm going to stick with vertical, my portrait mode versus landscape. And we're going to say create. All right, so here is InDesign. I'm going to close out of this. And I'm going to close out of this as well because I'm not really interested in doing that right now. I'm interested in getting my workspace set up. Okay, so much like a lot of other things, you can set this up however you want. However, it's probably going to make my life easier if you do a couple things with your workspace so that it's kind of what I'm used to looking at, and so you just got better tools available. First thing we're going to do, we did this in Illustrator, we did it in Photoshop, now we're here in InDesign doing it. Instead of having one big long column here, I'm going to hit the little fast forward symbol and have it so I've got a 2-column wide set of tools. Importantly, just like with Illustrator, Photoshop not as much, but InDesign and Illustrator, we have our stroke and fill colors here, and we definitely want those to be as big as we can have them. All right, so I've got my sheet of paper here. This pink and purple line is not actually there. That's just kind of showing you your standard print margins, as in if you were designing for a regular printer, most printers aren't going to be able to go too far outside of there. If it really bothers you, you can do Control semicolon to make it go away, but I'm just going to leave it there for right now. All right, my workspace stuff over here, this is all just not really useful for what I'm doing right now, so I'm going to change my workspace. Right here where it says Essentials, I'm going to click on that, and I'm old. I want Essentials Classic, or what I really actually probably want, and what we're going to be probably using most frequently when we're doing projects in InDesign, I want Typography. So I'm going to click on Typography, and notice that I have tons of stuff over here now. I'm not going to be using all these all the time. There's going to be stuff like Story that we're just never going to touch. But the nice thing with this is it allows me to have all these little options that we will use frequently, things like pages and layers and swatches. They're all hanging out over here for me to easily use now. Now, of course, because I did switch that, I need to go and, there we go, make that wide again. Now I've got InDesign. So if I wanted to go and start making some type in here, I've got my type tool. It's just the big T over here in the toolbar. You take that, you click and drag with it. You can type some words. And once you've typed some words, you can change what those words look like with all these things up here. We'll get more in depth with it later, but these are all your options. Some of these symbols should look familiar, things like centering text, that looks just like it does in Microsoft Word. To make your text larger, it's this guy right here. A lot of this is pretty intuitive. To change your font, it's right here. So you've got a lot of things we can learn in here. I really just wanted to have you guys have this initial setup so you know what InDesign looks like, what to expect, and so everyone's kind of on the same page.